you own land, yeah, you're probably going to lock your gate, right? I mean, come on, you're going to lock your gate, so you're going to chain the gate, you're going to lock everybody out, your friends, everybody. You're going to pick a few that could come in. Do you have a plan? Where are you going to go? Hey, if you own land, you're really lucky right now. But I want to say something. I used to own land in Alaska. I had a long driveway, very private, way off the road. I actually had to carry my groceries and stuff down a little bit of a trail to get to my cabin. I lived that life, off-grid. I hauled my water. I had no power. And this is all before off-grid was a big thing, especially on YouTube. If you own land, that's great. I want to tell you what happened to me in the last couple days when I went to visit some friends who have some acreage. Now, this video is not to make anyone feel bad if you don't live on your own land, or if you do, because there's going to be a little bit of dark and light on both. But own land in Alaska. I sold it years ago. And am I upset? People go, why'd you sell your land? That was perfect. Well, you know, it wasn't perfect for me. After a lot of years in the cold, it wasn't working for me anymore. And so I moved. Now, wouldn't that be the great place to be, though, when stuff hits the fan, you know, in Alaska on your land? Well, I don't know. You better be pretty tough. You better know how to hunt. And you better know how to grow your own food and do all that stuff, which I did know how to do and did it. But at some point, I just realized it wasn't healthy for me to be there anymore. And also, I saw the reality of owning land. So I didn't own the mineral rights, like most of us here. If you might already know this if you own land, but if you own land, generally you don't own the mineral rights. So let's get into what happened. I'm going to visit these people, and really great people, like the greatest people you'd ever meet on the planet. They have 40 acres, a long driveway like I used to have, and I've stopped by there hundreds of times. I've camped there. I've hung out for a long time. They used to have music festivals there and big campouts, and it was a neat place. They have a lot of friends, and a lot of people come and stay there. So I was going by. I had been trying to call them. There was no answer for a couple days, so I thought, well, I'll just go by and you know, I'll head down the driveway. They were always open for me to, or anyone, just to come over. And I got to the road, and their gate shut, and I thought, oh, they must be on vacation or something, you know, because there's a big chain through the gate, and like no one's been there for a while, and the track marks, the tire marks in and out were a little dusted over. So no one had been there for a while, and I'm like, God, that is really strange. I mean, I wonder what happened to them. They were solid people, solid on their land, grew everything, and they were off-grid for sure, and they were centered, hunkered down. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I carried on, and then a couple days later, I got a phone call from the woman and a friend of mine, and she said, oh, yeah, we're here. We're sorry. We've been outside a lot doing stuff, and we just haven't been checking messages. We've been real bad about it. And I said, yeah, but your gate's all chained and locked up and everything. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's how we keep it now. And I said, oh, wow. She goes, not a lot of people stop by. It isn't like the old days, Darren. It ain't the old days, Darren. I kept hearing this, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know that. You know, I travel around. You see my videos, and I hit some dark stuff, and I also try to hit some light stuff and shine light on it, but a lot of dark lately, so I'm thinking, oh, well, what's going on there? Like, how come you guys are feeling that way? So we talked for quite a while, and this is the message in this video. If you're living in the grid, in the city, in the towns, non-rural, something to think about is, like me, I have these friends outside of town. Now, they're not the only ones. I've got friends kind of all over the place that are like that. But I don't want to intrude on people. Like, if the shit hit the fan, I'm not going to go directly to their house and say, hey, can I stay here? I may have to, like, struggle to figure out what I'm going to do on my own. Now, for me, living on a bike and kind of not having a lot of stuff, in a lot of ways, that's easier. In some ways, it's not. But I don't have a lot of stuff to pack up and go and figure out what I'm going to do with all the dogs and the cat and all that kind of thing. I just got to worry about me. Is my family okay wherever they are? And get to a place that's safer, out of a grid, out of the city, right? That's what everybody thinks they're going to do, is just bail out like they did during the thing that happened a few years ago. Everybody just went out and camped, boondocking. Now, what was happening then is a lot of people were like camping on private land, going up to people's gates, and asking if they can camp. and it was getting bad. That was just a little thing that happened. So you can just imagine if the shit hit the fan and the grid went down, everybody's going to be looking for a place to go. If you own land, yeah, you're probably going to lock your gate, right? I mean, come on. You're going to lock your gate. You're going to get all your protection out. You're going to be ready for people trying to bust down your gate. That's going to be the mentality it already has been. I know these people, a lot of them. A lot of them are like that. They don't want you within miles of their place. Some of them are a little more open, like, and if you're a friend, yeah, come on in. But the gate's going to close. The gate's going to shut, and we're not going to have friends to go visit or hang out on their land. All I'm trying to do here is bring in awareness. You may not have another place to go. It's an awareness. What can you do to be ready? What can you gather up in your house to just be ready for when? And if it's longer than a month, then you can't stay in your house, or 2 months. Oh, real quick. One time I'm out on a trip and it's storming and raining. I'm in this really remote area and there's a bunch of kind of dilapidated buildings. And one of them is kind of closed up. It looks like, oh, it's in good shape. And I look underneath. It's got a great crawl space. It's all clean, concrete, and nice place. So I just rolled out my bag to get out of the weather and sleep under there. And then about 6 in the morning, a bunch of people showed up. And I could hear them walking around upstairs. And there was some sort of a medical training camp going on, EMT camp. And I was like, oh, I had to sneak out of there. Going to be taking people out of their houses and put them in nice, comfortable places to stay, like FEMA camps. So have the friends, build the relationship, buy the land if you can. And the other thing to understand is if you do own the land and you buy the land, that it can be taken from you. And so there's a balance there. It's like it can be taken, you own it. That's where you got to let go a little bit and go, all right, this is where I'm hunkered down. This is where I'm going to be. If you're like me and you don't, have an out. It's like when you went to driving school. Leave yourself an out, 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, leave yourself an out. That's the way I live my life. I leave myself an out. I got a plan B, a plan C. And anyway, please like and subscribe. I hope these little tips are helping you. It's stuff I think about while I'm out here on the road, living in the tent. Hey, it warmed up today. I didn't even have to put on my Venustas. And it's really starting to warm up. I think spring's on the way. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man. Have a place to go.